Hey, good morning. Sorry, a couple minutes behind this morning, just a few minutes after 10, but that's okay. Uh, my name is Adam Bersan. This is our Monday morning training, and today I just wanted to talk about the recent news of some carriers leaving the market. And I'm sure that there's people out there that it has affected. I know a lot of people out there, they have, I guess what you could say, kind of like their go-to carrier. Actually, my dad, for instance, he's been in the business for years. The last 10 years, he's actually written, I'd say probably 95% of his business with one of the carriers that just recently closed their doors. So kind of got me thinking a little bit about not only him, but other people that maybe are in the same situation where maybe you were real happy with the carrier you were using and then just out of the blue, just you get an email one morning, sorry, you can't do business here anymore. So, with that, the great thing about being independent is that we do have several options when it comes to carriers that we can write business with. Our business doesn't have to slow down, our business doesn't have to be over just because one carrier or two, or seems like there's a bunch of them this year that are kind of going away. Well, if they go away, that's okay. We can kind of keep on moving. So, I got Chris with me. How you doing, Chris?
I got a brand new computer, so I don't know if things look as good for me as they do for you. But hey, that's part of reinvesting in your business. Things are going good. They're not going good for some people, though, that are dependent on these products that are exiting the market. But the good news is we've got solutions and we're ahead of the curve. And I'm excited to discuss it today.
Yeah, most definitely. Like I said, I mean, I think that, well, even like I mentioned, like my dad, for instance, I mean, he's a little bit older now. He's in his late 60s. I think he just gets comfortable. You kind of get used to a product. You get used to just the different ways of doing business when it comes to, whether you're using an e-app or whether you're doing a paper app or whether you're, or even like just figuring out rates and just things like that, where I think sometimes people just kind of get comfortable. And then, like I said, these situations that have come up over the last, well, really since like the end of last year into now, where unfortunately it takes maybe a little bit of readapting to other products and learning those different features. But like I said, I mean, I don't feel like the world's going to end or anything. I mean, it's just a matter of just having to take that little bit of extra time to maybe learn some products. So, but that's what I wanted to go over today. Just some products that I feel could be pretty comparable to even those that left the market, where you really don't have to miss a beat.
Yeah, I,
So
I apologize if I get some dinging going on. I haven't figured out how to turn that off yet, but we'll figure that out after the training today. Plenty of options with products too, which is exciting.
yeah, for sure. So, um, and I know, and for those of you who have not watched, go back and watch on the Insurance Life and In Between Facebook page and also YouTube channel. Some of the prior podcasts that we've done that talked a little bit about the situation, I guess you could say, of what's going on with some of these carriers and the reasoning behind them leaving the market. We don't really need to get into all that today. Today is really more focused on what we can do to help that situation for you agents out there that are maybe looking for other products that are out there. And if you need help, feel free to reach out. You can go to my website, unitylifegroup.com, and go to the opportunity tab and submit an inquiry. I'd be happy to set up a call. If you don't have some of these carriers, well, we have them. Be more than happy to see what we can do to put you in a good situation to succeed long term. So like I said, so you need some new carriers, and I know just the ones recent were the Columbian Financial Group, and then the Great Western was the other one that we received an email, I think last Monday, that I think at the end of August will be the end where you will no longer be able to submit new business with them. Columbian abruptly left, shut their doors not this past Friday, but the Friday prior to that. So like I said, just wanted to kind of run through maybe a few different carriers. Chris is going to help me too with just his knowledge with in the industry of just the different carriers that I think could be pretty comparable here. So, so the problem, you recently lost CFG. Like I said, my dad, for instance, that was like his main carrier that he used for the last 10 years. Me and him are very similar, where we like to just kind of focus on simplicity and focusing on like one company and maybe branching out a little bit from there, but just always kind of having that focus of just where we're planning on doing majority of our business. And his problem right now, he lost that carrier. That was his main carrier. He was one of their top agents, actually. Made their trips and all that good stuff. But to me, the solution, a very comparable product, is American Amicable. A very comparable carrier, I guess you could say, is American Amicable. And the good thing about American Amicable is that they're still in business. So,
you mean the regulators didn't show up at their office on Friday?
They've yet to show up. So I'd say that's a pretty good thing about American Amicable, is that you can do business with them.
Yeah.
So if you lost your CFG contract, well, like I said, there's solutions out there. Now, the things that just a few quick facts about American Amicable. They were founded in 1910, so they've been around for 114 years now. Home office is in Waco, Texas, and they are AM Best A-rated, very good rating, and they are financially secure. They have $109 billion in assets acquired by Industrial Alliance Insurance and Financial Services back in 2010. So the chances of them leaving the market, I would say, I don't have any inside information or anything like that, but I would say are pretty slim. I think that they're here for the long haul. And I think that if that's a carrier, if you came from, like I said, if you were solely focused on the one carrier that left the market, I think this could be a really good solution, and you would not have to fear them going out of business anytime soon. And they offer, great product offering, very similar to that CFG that left. They have final expense, whole life, term, universal life, and products that go ages 0 through the age of 85. So, and just some of the features that I like about American Amicable, they have e-apps for just about all of their products. And they have many products that provide an instant decision. And I know that's something that a lot of agents, most agents like. These days, I feel like you have to keep up with the technology, and people like that instant approval. They like knowing then and there, and sometimes people think it's just because an agent, they want to get that answer right then and there. And I think that's part of it. But I also think, at least in the final expense market, it's hard enough to get in front of the prospect the one time, that if you got to go back, it could be difficult to get in touch with them again, get back in the house. It's so much. I just think it's so much better to just get that decision while you're there, so you know which way it's going to go, and you can kind of move on to the next from there. But what I like too, on their instant decision e-app, they give you reasoning behind the decision. So if you wrote that piece of business and you were under the assumption, or you thought that they should be covered right away based off of what they told you pertaining to their health, if it comes back different, well, they're going to let you know. American Amicable, they're going to let you know the reasoning, different medications that might have popped up. Usually, first, there might be a few medications that might be like in question. For instance, one medication that we see pop up quite a bit is like gabapentin, and that's one that can be used for several different things. Now, if the gabapentin was due to diabetic neuropathy, well, that's going to push it one way. But if it was not used for neuropathy, maybe it was just prescribed for back pain, things like that. Well, or even migraines, I think that it can even be prescribed for. So, but they'll ask, like a question might popped up: are they taking gabapentin for neuropathy? Yes or no? and you check whichever it is. If it's no, well, you would check no, and then from there it'll give you the final decision. And when you get that final decision, if it comes back other than applied for, there may be some other medications that pop up that is the reasoning behind that decision. So what that does, that gives you the ability then to ask your client a little bit about those decisions, about those medications, and see maybe when they were prescribed, how long ago they were prescribed. And what's nice is that they also give you the ability to contest that decision. So if you think that it should be first day coverage, and maybe there's a medication that popped up that they quit taking like 4 or 5 years ago, and when the underwriting's really just based off of maybe the last 2 or 3 years, well, then that's something that you can contest. It asks if there's in the e-app, it asks if there's any additional information that you'd like to provide. Well, if the decision's other than applied for and you want to contest it, well, that's where you'd want to put that information. So you plug in that information. I would say probably close to 75% of the ones that I have contested, I have won, or at least maybe 3 out of 5. Mm-hmm. So, they're really good with really listening to the agents, taking the agent's word for it. People at their home office, they've actually sent out in the field and just kind of, so they can kind of see what the day-to-day looks like for agents, kind of the different things that we have to go into and work with on a regular basis. And another thing I was at their home office back in January of last year. They just talk about how they look at agents as their agent partners. They don't look like you are below them. They kind of look at this as like, we are all in this together. They don't look at it like all agents are bad, like they're all out there just trying to, do shortcuts and commit fraud and like all this other stuff. Like they know the things that we run into. And, sometimes maybe we don't get the whole story from the client, but other times maybe we feel pretty good about it. And we feel like the client is being pretty upfront and honest with us. And they pull out all their meds, you even ask about prior history, and everything seems pretty good. Provide that story to the company. There's a good chance that you'll end up getting that piece of business issued as applied for. So that's something that I like about them, that a lot of companies, you get that decision, it could come back. They call it return of premium. Other companies will call that like modified, with like the 2-year period before they're fully covered. But, if it comes back that way, like I said, they at least let you know, and you can kind of work on maybe still getting that decision, where other companies, if it goes modified, that's just how it is. Like there's nothing you can do about it. That's just how it's going to be rated and how it's going to go. So I like that they are a little bit more flexible with that than some of the other carriers out there. And they also pay their claims quickly. They pay their claims usually within 48 hours, as long as all the documentation is provided in a timely manner. So anything else you wanted to maybe add about AmAm, Chris?
Absolutely. So true Social Security billing, very important for persistency purposes.
There you go.
One of the carriers who exited the market didn't have it. It probably would have been able to stay longer if they did. Is it the end all be all? No, but it does significantly improve persistency. American Amicable does do that. I like the fact that they lump sum pay your renewals every month. So it comes in on the first business day of the month, which provides like a motivation. When I was just like a single producer trying to push to qualify for their trip, I had driven my monthly deposit as much as my mortgage at one point, which is a cool motivator to kind of build up that month-to-month income. Also, the back office site is easy to understand. They notify you pretty clearly if there's a problem so you don't miss it. It's just a very easy to use product and process, which is very important if you're watching this wanting to get started in the business for the first time. Need to get paid quick, need to write business, need to protect families and make money for yours. They can get you started pretty quickly as well.
Yeah, like I said too, Chris, like for those that want to keep things simple and they don't want to place business all over the place, because they have that pretty good mix of products, I think that is a good solution for those that just want to keep things simple. They have the final expense, they got the term, they got the universal life. mean, everything's right there. It's just a matter of kind of going through and learning the different products. We're not going to get into detail about every single little product with them today, but like I said, I mean, for those that, like I said, I think that CFG that left the market just very comparable with just the mix of the different products out there. And I think that AmAm would be a very good replacement for those that maybe were kind of set on just that one carrier model and just really trying to continue to just kind of keep things simple and not really wanting to place their business all over the place. So
yeah, realistically though, Amicable is probably a superior product. The Colombian Modified was significantly more expensive and significantly more strict, and had a significant pay cut involved. American Amicable Modified, if you write it with the right agency, you're getting paid full comp to write their modified. So in an era where there's also, Adam, less and less guaranteed issue products, it's going to be okay. Like American Amicable Modified probably takes a lot of what people write guaranteed issue, and then it'll pay better, draft better, be better. So this is probably even a more superior product to Colombian and a more stable product where they weren't shut down by regulators in the middle of a Friday.
Yeah, you're right. No, good point. You know, like I said, I think that it's like an upgrade, you could say, to CFG. The things that CFG lacked, I think, is where AmAm comes in a little bit ahead, especially with like the technology and like the e-app and just the different features and just the different things that they've done to maybe prevent fraud and just coming up with better ways of being able to generate that business, or for agents to be able to submit the business the right way.
Absolutely.
And then we have the next carrier I wanted to bring up was Baltimore Life. Chris, you are much more familiar with Baltimore Life than I am. I've only written maybe a few pieces of business with them. I'll let you kind of run through these slides. I'll kind of go through here just like a quick breakdown of like who they are, and then you could maybe run through these the features. I put together a couple slides of just their whole life, but they do have a pretty wide range of products as well. So Baltimore Life, I mean, heck, they've been around since 1882. I mean, we're talking about some pretty stable companies that have been around a long time. So, I mean, same thing. I mean, I don't see companies like that going away anytime soon. Home office is in Baltimore, Maryland, of course. Baltimore Life, that makes sense. They're a B+ rated company. To me, B++, that's good. I mean, that's close, pretty close to an A, A-. So they're a financially strong company. They have $1.2 billion in assets. So, they got some money there. They're secure. I don't feel like they're going anywhere. They're not backed up like AmAm, where AmAm got bought by the one, I guess we could almost call that, I don't know if that's like a reinsurer or not, or like a marketing organization or what, that like 100 and something billion in assets. But, 1.2 billion is pretty good. I don't see the chances of them going anywhere anytime soon either. These are the different products that Baltimore Life offers. That they have their term, their whole life, their universal, their final expense, and then also a critical illness policies. So, like I said, kind of the same thing. We talked about AmAm and how they have a very wide range of products. Baltimore Life is kind of right there too, with a good range of products. So whether you have AmAm or not, or maybe you've done business with them in the past and you just prefer to do business elsewhere, well, then Baltimore Life is another option with some pretty good products here. I wanted to we could run through the iProvide. That's their whole life product. This slide might need to be updated a little bit though, Chris. I know they changed something with like their ages, and I can't remember. I don't know if it was the iProvide or the AProvide. But I know one of them, they changed like the face amount, like the minimum face at like a certain age.
Yeah. So a priority they adjusted because
it was a priority
against the iProvide, which kind of shows a carrier that's paying attention to what's happening, which is important, because if they're not paying attention to what's happening or not making the proper decisions, then we're witnessing what we're witnessing right now. major contraction in the market, which is honestly a good thing when you've got products like this. Baltimore Life's iProvide is their final expense product. A Priority is more of their blue collar, high face amount type, younger aged product. But this is an outstanding lead product. If you know it, can get through the contracting process and enjoy using it.
Yeah, that's the only thing that we've run into, just the contracting process. But heck,
It's
just
sure LC. I mean, push, submit, log in. It shouldn't be that hard, but
yeah, you're right. It's just a few steps, in the Sure LC. And now the iProvide is ages 45 to 89. So that's one nice feature too. There's not many carriers that go through the age of 89. So you can write the older ages with Baltimore Life on the iProvide. And this is their whole life product. Minimum face 2,500, maximum face 50,000. Same thing. There's not a whole lot of final expense carriers that go to 50,000. Most of them, they're like maybe 25, 35,000. So
15.
Up to 50,000 is pretty good.
Yeah.
And then they have the whole life, the 20 pay, the single pay options, which are nice. I mean, heck, even, someone who's 45 years old, a lot of younger people sometimes I think are turned off by wanting to get into a whole life policy with their thoughts of the fact that they think that they're going to live forever. And, well, I don't want to pay for 50 years into this thing. Well, you don't have to. Someone who's 45, 50 years old, I mean, heck, by the time they're 65, 70 years old, then that plan will be paid off. They'll have it for the rest of their life and not have to worry about making any more payments on it. And then they also have the single pay option. You talk to someone who maybe they have money, they just want to prepay for their funeral. You can explain how they're better off to do that through a life insurance company rather than going to the funeral home that could possibly shut their doors down at some point. Get it done through a secure insurance company. Take out a single pay life policy and you pay that one-time premium and your policy is going to be worth a heck of a lot more than what you put into it. So same thing, nice little pay options there with them outside of just your traditional whole life.
Limited pay is another great upgrade opportunity where you might have somebody in a life pay policy and you can't beat the rate, but you can ask them, do you really want to pay this policy the rest of your life? Or would you rather pay a few dollars more and be done paying for it in 10 or 20 years? I think limited pay policies don't get enough attention from agents because they don't see them enough. But this is one of the products that does have it. And Adam, I've priced out a few situations before where younger age, decent health, limited pay was significantly better than doing a life pay option. So absolutely one of the great niches that this product has that many others don't.
And then $1,000 cash draft upon death, the beneficiary can receive a $1,000 cash draft to cover necessities until the death claim is settled. To me, that's something that's very unique. I mean, I've never heard of another carrier doing something like that. So, like, regardless of when that death claim is going to be paid, they're at least going to front some money to them before they've made a final decision on that claim paying out. So to me, that's pretty cool to at least put some money into the family's hands right away when they need it. These funeral homes, everything else, boy, they want that money right away. So hopefully they'll be speedy with getting the whole claim paid, but at least right away they're going to put some money in their hands, which is pretty good. And then they have the preferred, standard, and then modified. So 3 different rate classifications, pretty standard, preferred, standard, first day coverage, and then the modified with the return of premium plus 10% interest if they were to pass away within the first 2 years. Very simple application with also providing that immediate underwriting decision. Did you want to talk a little bit about their application process? Because like I said, I think you're probably a little bit more familiar with that than I am.
Sure. So it's not the iPipeline. It's not iCover. It's their own individual software. And it works really well. You get a pure 100% no arguments decision within that application process. So you know what's going on by the time that you're done, or if you need to pivot to a different carrier. I don't know if we have a slide on this, but the underwriting is very, very liberal. Like a lot of things qualify for standard that you might not think of. A lot of things qualify for preferred you might not think of. All that information is widely available in Toolkit for you to go through. But the product is very, very competitive on the underwriting. A COPD oftentimes qualifies for preferred under certain criteria. Diabetic neuropathy will go through standard in some cases. It's a very liberal product. And if you just look at the rates, you might think to yourself, well, that one's cheaper. Well, it's also not always what always is the cheapest, but what carrier can I do all of my business or 85% of my business with? In an era where we're kind of going back, Adam, to pre-COVID, 2018, 2019, significantly less carriers on the market, more to be leaving soon. Having that one solid company you can do most of your stuff with is going to keep you a lot less stressed out. I think that's one of the hidden advantages to all these extraneous carriers dropping from the market is it's going to make it easier for agents to focus their business in a few quality carriers like Baltimore Life.
Yeah, that makes sense. And well, I think about that too, just all the different perks that a lot of these different carriers offer, and even like an annual incentive trip makes it a heck of a lot easier to make those trips when you're not spreading your business out with like 20 different companies.
Exactly.
If you have that sole carrier that that you're going to put a majority of your business with, then the chances, if you're full time, I mean, the chances of you making those trips are pretty high. So, and I mean, heck, company trips are very beneficial, not only for the enjoyment of, getting to take some time off and go to some places around the world that maybe you never even been to, but you get to spend your time with some pretty knowledgeable people in the industry too. That I've learned a lot on a lot of the different company trips that I've been on in the past. So it makes it a lot easier when you're solely focused on maybe just a few carriers and not writing business all over the place. But like you said, with a lot of these different carriers leaving the market, well, it's almost like there's not going to really be a decision. Most agents are going to have to kind of focus on like having a go-to carrier and then maybe just have one or two others to kind of fill in some gaps when they need them.
Yeah, I think what I did a video on this years ago, probably at this point, and I didn't even name particular companies. I just said one company, you should have 3 companies or 4. One that can do 85% of your business, like an American Amicable, like a Baltimore Life. One that makes up for the 10% you couldn't do with the first, and then something for that last 5%. I think so many agents will find that this situation that we're going through is actually an advantage to them. And the people that can't rise to that challenge, well, maybe they weren't a good fit for this anyway.
Very true. Moving forward here, the A priority. I think this is the one that might need to be updated a little bit, Chris. But I think that the main thing, I don't think that they have that minimum face amount of 15,000 anymore. I think they start at 50,000 on that product. Am I correct?
So it's 50,000 minimum, ages 50 to 80. It's a good way to remember it, 50 and 50, because ideally they wanted the I Provide product to cover that final expense age demographic. But you run into a younger person, 18 to 49. This is a great first choice option. The rates are super competitive. It's a participating whole life policy. Adam, I've even had situations about 2 months ago, a client had six whole life policies from a 3-letter captive company that recently caught attention on the news. And when I combined them all together, you needed a policy that was going to be at like 75,000. And unless you're going to take 3 policies and write her 3 new ones, didn't make a lot of sense. This product, when you're combining multiple policies into a high face amount situation, is perfect. Like the client's already used to paying, in that case, $200 a month. I probably wrote 50 grand in a year just from high face amount upgrades. And not to mention, the price was super competitive. So in that one scenario, we combined all these policies together from that captive company. It was one policy, it was more coverage, and it was a lower price. So it's an amazing product to use in those situations.
But like you said, it's minimum face at the older ages of 50,000. So yeah, like you said, when they have those multiple policies and kind of looking for a way to combine into one, that makes sense. Now, I would assume like I said, I haven't really done a whole lot with them, but I would assume that this product, being that it's the larger face amounts of the older ages, I would assume that the underwriting maybe is a little bit tighter than the other final expense product or the final expense product that they offer that we just went through.
Yeah, so the underwriting is slightly stricter, but it is still more liberal than you'd be surprised to see. And it's instant decision. So if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and you know right there. I think that's so important, especially for the new or slightly semi-new agent, making sure that they're in the home, they're giving the presentation, they're finishing the job before they go. Because if you don't get it, then you're probably not going to get it the second time.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, like I said, I don't really have a reason why I have not used them much, but I'm definitely going to look into them too to see. I mean, I definitely see. I'm sure that there's a need there in some situations that I could probably use them for sure. The next one wanted to talk about, and I don't even have any slides on Transamerica. I just figured we could talk about them and just kind of go from there. But I know Transamerica, same thing. I mean, they've been around for forever. They actually bought out Monumental Life. I remember Monumental. That was a big name when I first got in the business. And then, like I said, Transamerica bought them out. But they're big in final expense. They also have, I actually took out a term policy with them in the fall of last year. At the time, I was 41 years old. I mean, the rates, it was a 25-year term. And I mean, I got like the super preferred rating or whatever it was, but 25-year $1 million term policy was like $85 a month at 41 years old. I mean, I thought the rate was awesome. Like, I don't think anybody else even came close to that. I didn't have to worry about doing a paramet or anything. It was all simplified issue. Everything was based off of the answers on the app. They probably ran my MIB and everything else. And I mean, everything came through good. So, like I said, I mean, I think that I know they do the final expense. I know they do like the ULs and the IULs and all that stuff. But, even like I said, the term rates, if there's other companies that are comparable when it comes to price, I mean, I'd be curious to know, because I've ran those trans rates and they seem like they're better than everybody on the term side. But yeah, not only that, I'm sure you were probably going to talk about too, how they're probably like the one carrier who maybe has it figured out when it comes to the Social Security billing with the Direct Express card.
Mm-hmm.
I know we talked about that on one of our podcasts. I think I mentioned how I don't even really like writing a lot of Direct Express business because it seems like so much of it falls off. And you mentioned that you talked to someone, I think you talked to someone at Transamerica that told you that like they're what is it, like 85-90% of the Direct Express business is sticking with them.
Yeah,
That
unfortunately,
they have the whole behind the scenes algorithm or whatever figured out to make it work right.
yeah, there's another carrier that's probably leaving the market soon. People will be shocked if they weren't paying attention to what we've been talking about when that happens. That takes Direct Express. Still rumor, not proven to be true just yet. But their billing rate on Direct Express was significantly lower than it should have been. With Transamerica, the billing rate, the success rate on drafting the premiums, Direct Express needs to be a carrier like Transamerica. And with less and less companies taking Direct Express, you're going to be using Transamerica more and more for that business. Rumor has it, Adam, like we teased a few weeks ago, they have another product coming to the market in the next few months. And if they're working on product development, that probably means they're not exiting the market, hopefully, compared to some other products. So if you're looking for something with a little bit of peace of mind that you're not going to get set up, start selling, and they leave the market, I'll put my bets on Transamerica being here for a while. The product that currently exists with them utilizes the activity credit as a way to oftentimes upgrade standard rate conditions to preferred, graded to standard. So it does come in handy. The application is not instant decision most of the time. It does require you to check your back office, do your homework, make sure stuff gets issued. But they're going to take a lot of stuff standard and preferred that others wouldn't take at all. They practice true Social Security billing. You can get contracted within 48 hours in most cases. It's a very, once you learn it, it's an acquired taste, but once you learn it, you know where to use it in your bag kind of carrier.
And I mean, of the ones that I've written with them, I would say a good portion of them, within a few minutes, I'm getting a decision in an email.
Yeah.
So, like, even if it's not an actual instant decision, I mean, if you're hanging out with your client for a few minutes after the sale, which you probably should, like, you don't want to just jump up and walk out and then they feel like they just got sold. Like, it's good to kind of cool down a little bit, anyways.
Yeah.
And, kind of hang out, get some referrals, stuff like that. Usually within 10 minutes of that, you're going to get an email coming back that's going to give you the decision. And if you got to pivot from that point, well, at least you're still there to get it done. But yeah, most of the time I get a decision within minutes when I've written the business with them. One thing I would say with the Transamerica, though, is that from what I've found, like, if I mess something up, like I had one where I think I wanted to do the Direct Express, but I just didn't set it up correctly on the e-app. That was just one situation where I was really jumping through a lot of hoops to finally get that piece of business issued. So I think it's just a matter of like a learning sort of thing. If you learn it and you learn the e-app and you become familiar with it and you get everything done properly, you're not going to deal with a whole lot of headaches. But if you mess stuff up and you got to get things fixed, sometimes that leads to additional work. Where I remember, like with them, I had to go back to the client and I had to get different things signed and all this other stuff. It was just kind of a headache. But I think if you learn it and you get it done right to begin with, you're not going to run into those sort of situations. So overall, yeah, I mean, I think that they seem, so far from what I've done with them, they seem to be pretty decent. And I'm glad that they accept that Direct Express card and that they do a good job with it. And maybe for now on, that'll be my focus, is just kind of focusing on them when it comes to Direct Express business.
Yeah, you just have to learn the process. And if you're writing just a few companies anyway, learning the process shouldn't be that complicated. But if you're writing 7, 8, and 9 carriers, then of course it's going to be complicated. And when you're learning something, be patient with it. Who here is good at something the very first time they do it? Literally nobody. And if they are, they're lying to you. So be patient with it. Make sure you're writing down all the information as a backup. I always have my application. I've got my client data sheet that I'm physically filling out in the home like it's 2016 still. But I'm also using on my iPad, I write down everyone's information: name, birth date, address, social, bank information, physical signature. Like, I have all that available in case for some reason I submit the application and I've done something wrong. I'm not relying on that single source to be able to do it. It might be a little bit of extra work, but Adam, I found if I take a few extra minutes to do that extra work, it improves the quality of the sale as well. Like, I think the e-application era has caused people to rush so much, they've forgotten how to connect and cool down. And if you're watching this, maybe the biggest tip you can take from today, besides picking up these carriers and working with us, is slow down. Like, take a freaking deep breath, warm down, make sure the business is issued, make sure you've gathered all their information correctly, make sure you've written it down, and go from there. And keep an eye out, because I'm excited to see Transamerica's new product coming out at some point this year too.
Yeah, no, I remember you mentioning that. So that's pretty cool too. Do you have any details of like what that's looking like?
It's still being tested in limited distribution right now, which is good. You don't want them to release something that sucks. So hoping late summer, maybe early fall, to see that come to market, but it's supposed to be on a whole new software platform. It's supposed to be instant decision all the time, which is nice, and not instant decision like in 30 minutes, like on the spot decision. Still taking Direct Express, still true Social Security billing. One of the things I also like about AmAm, Transamerica does too, where they lump sum pay your renewals on the third business day of the month. So imagine this scenario where you write AmAm and Transamerica. you're getting all your renewals lump summed that first 2 business days of the month. You could be getting two, three, $4,000 just right out of the way, all your big bills paid, and be set up for a really great month leading with these two companies. Baltimore Life, mix them in just a little bit. They pay within 48, 72 hours in most cases. That's a good quick pay carrier to work with because you need a blend. I agree. You need a blend of paid on draft next month, paid this week so I can buy my leads. I mean, these three carriers will give you that mix as well.
Yeah, I do like how they pay the renewals, like you mentioned, even like the AmAm paying the renewals all lump sum all at once. It's nice just getting that one big deposit. Uh, like I even get some renewals from CFG, and like they pay their renewals like every day. Like I'd be getting, a whole bunch of little small deposits. Like to me, I would rather, I guess it all kind of evens out. But in the end, I like getting that one big deposit rather than just a whole bunch of small little ones.
Yeah.
Uh, those small
Consistent.
little ones, it just doesn't really feel like you're getting anything.
Yeah. I might also encourage people to look at weekly pay as an option when you're contracting with carriers. If you're having to make business changes because your favorite toys left the market, Tom's watching with us right now. He found this to be true. Getting set up on weekly pay also provides you a little bit more regularity, a little bit more predictability. And Adam, I don't know if you're like me, but the bigger deposit, the more I get excited. And when I've got 2, 3, and 4 cases coming in on a Monday, and I'm getting, $6, $7, $8, $9,000 deposits, that kind of stuff's exciting to see.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, it definitely helps too when when you're ordering leads and
Mhm.
you got to have the funds available. It makes it a heck of a lot easier when you get that nice big chunk of money all at once to kind of get some lead orders going. You could really take a one renewal check and use that for your whole month's worth of leads. If you build that renewal check up big enough where you could place your whole month's worth of direct mail lead orders just with that one deposit, and then you're good for the month. So that's what I like about it. Now, the last one we wanted to talk about today is Corebridge. Corebridge is it's an affiliation with American General, or like
Mhm.
AIG. Um, Now, a lot of people out there too are going to be losing their Great Western contract, their Great Western product, as I mentioned at the beginning, at the end of August. And I think, we talked in one of the videos about the reasoning behind Great Western leaving the market. And honestly, I think it was a lot of people just primarily using them for guaranteed issue business, which is not great quality business. But those agents are going to be losing that guaranteed issue options. So that's where Corebridge kind of steps in. They have other products outside of just the guaranteed issue, but the guaranteed issue, well, heck, when you need it, at least it's there, and they're still in business. So you'll be able to use them as an option. They also accept Direct Express too, don't they, Chris?
Yes, they do. I think as we talk about keeping our product portfolio small, but also effective that way, a small 5% ish of your business should be guaranteed issue. And using a carrier like Corebridge for that 5% is perfectly fine option, as there are less and less guaranteed issue options that are going to be out there. I know you're also going to mention it, but they've got the Simply Now level and graded benefit product as an option too. So you can do a lot of business with them. Say you've left an organization, you want to start somewhere new, like work with Adam, and you don't have a lot of toys you can pick up because a lot of them left the market. Here's an option. Here's an option you probably don't have and you can put to use. So I also like the fact that they're sending out nice physically printed policies. They have nice brochures. They've got home office staff that is invested in distribution with bonuses and such, which shows intent. Like there's a lot of carriers, especially over the years, who had great products but didn't give you anything for it. No marketing bonuses, no rewards budget. It's a solid product to have, especially with the way the market's looking right now. Although
And
I hope this video doesn't make us look hypocritical on any carrier. That'd be really awkward if that happened.
I was just gonna say, as far as their underwriting, like on the Simply Now product, So that's not the guaranteed issue. That's just kind of like your traditional final expense. I mean, would you say it's pretty competitive?
Yeah, Simply Now it's pretty competitive. It's not the cheapest, it's not the most expensive, but it's right in that middle American Amicable price range. The graded benefits and option. If you can't get that or that, you've got the guaranteed issue. And at this point, you don't want a super cheap GI because it's not going to last. Like their GI is fairly priced. Adam, their GI is paid up at 90, I believe, if not a year or two sooner, depending on when they buy it, which is a nice little value add. So when we're really talking about for GI, 5% of your business or less, this is a perfectly fine option. Then you've got like your Gerbers of the world and such, but less is more when it comes to GI. I'm really encouraging folks with Corebridge, as we talk about it today, to take a look at Simply Now as an option if you need some new carriers.
Well, I know we did a training maybe 6 months ago or longer now on just kind of the same thing we're talking about today, different carriers. And that one was kind of more focused on maybe agents that were maybe with certain groups where maybe they were ready to move on and they were kind of stuck where they couldn't get released out of their contracts. And we were providing just other options, other carriers that there's a possibility that they may not have. Well, Corebridge could be one that maybe they already had, but the good thing about Corebridge is that they do allow to dual contract, right? Where like if an agent just is ready to kind of move on, they can still contract with a new entity, and there's not going to be issues there.
Yeah, Corebridge does allow dual contracting. Again, this is the video and our opinions as of June 10th, 2024. So don't call me a hypocrite if something changes tomorrow or in the future. But yes, when we rolled Corebridge back out to our agency, we told folks, you have it elsewhere, you can have it with us now. And that's probably a better idea. So they do allow dual contracting.
All right. And then I wanted to let everybody know as well that this is just part one of this training. Next Monday, we're going to be going through 4 other carriers. We went through 4 today. We have 4 next week that maybe are even a little bit more unique, maybe some more like, I don't know, off the wall carriers that maybe you never even heard of or are fairly new that maybe you're just starting to hear about. We're going to be going through some of those carriers next Monday. That same thing that I think are some pretty viable options when it comes to having a primary carrier, then maybe only needing like 1 or 2 after that, where you don't need to spread your business out all over the place. So yeah, today, part 1. Next Monday, you're going to want to tune in for the next part. And then we'll go through, like I said, about 3 or 4 others next Monday. So, and like I mentioned, go to unitylifegroup.com/careers. Any interest in those carriers we were talking about today, I'd be happy to set up a call with you and we could kind of run through those, see if those carriers would be a good fit for you and see if my agency would be a good fit for you. In-home sales as well as telesales platforms available. We have multiple options when it comes to different lead programs that are available. We really do our best to try and get you in front of as many people as possible every single week. And, we'll do what we can to put you in front of, like I said, as many people as we can. We have our weekly trainings, as you can see, that you are on right now, as well as Chris's morning call every morning, Monday through Friday, kind of helps people kind of get up and going for the day and motivated and engaged and really feel like you're a part of something where you're not just out there all on your own trying to figure this out. We've been doing this a long time. We can kind of point you in the right direction and kind of keep you headed in the right direction long term. So as you can see, multiple carrier options available, great opportunities to build a team. I always tell people, my goal is always, to be a manager of managers. And I think that should be a lot of people's goals. If you like what you do, why not teach others and put them in a good situation as well? So, we got lots of different contract levels available to kind of make sure that we can set people up the right way, even those that maybe already have a group of agents that are maybe looking to to do some business with us, we got room to make that happen. So, but thanks again. And you can go to adambrisson.com too to sign up for the weekly trainings, and you will receive an email of what the weekly training topic is going to be for the week. Sometimes it comes out early in the week. Sometimes it comes out the night before. Sometimes it comes out the day of. You just never know. That's what's exciting about this. You just never know what to expect. So, but you know what? Sometimes I think of these things just kind of on a whim. I'm trying to figure out what training to do this week. And last night I was just thinking about well, heck, that would be perfect. We talk about these carriers that have been leaving the market. Perfect topic to talk about. What can we do to help agents with other options that are available in the market with companies and that we feel pretty confident about that aren't going anywhere anytime soon in the marketplace. So, and check out my YouTube as well, adambrisson.com/training, as well as the YouTube, as I mentioned, youtube.com/C/Adam Brisson. And then also the Insurance Life and everything in between Facebook group, YouTube channel, and Apple, Spotify, Amazon, you name it, audio podcast platform, which I think is great that you can listen to even while you're out in the field working. You can never stop learning. All I ever did when I first got in the business was just listen to sales materials, different audio books. The great thing about our sales training is it's focused on life insurance. It's focused on final expense. And for those that are in that market, talk about great material to be able to listen to on a regular basis that can help you again that's specific to the topic and not just a general sales. What's that again, Chris?
It's experience-based training. It's not just talking heads that know how to turn on a camera and talk about stuff. It's not people who watched a video and then said the same thing in a video we said. It's experience-based training. Like we sat here and we thought, what companies can we talk about that we're confident will still be here? We're not just reacting, we're being proactive. And in an era where things are changing rapidly, we're contracting back to a time where support, mentorship, leadership, guidance, and experience will get you to the next step. That's who you should be partnering with, not just people that talk a good game, but people who are practicing the game in the field every single week.
Exactly. Chris is 400,000 plus annual producer. I'm getting there when it comes to my personal production. I'm probably on track to have my best year ever personal production. And, also have built some pretty big agencies, regions. I've been top regional director with companies in the past. We got the track record of success. We can show agents what it's going to take to be successful long-term. And, that's what we're here to do. So, but thanks again. Glad all of you were able to hop on this morning. Feel free to reach out if you need anything. And I hope you have a great week. We'll see you again next Monday. Thanks.
Take care.